You don't come. Welcome, oh. I beg, before we go begin this story, we go scatter your head. Make you do it in. Subscribe, sharp, sharp. Like the video, drop your sweet, sweet comments. No, they form. Now, beggar the beg, oh. Okay, now, sitting well.
The morning felt heavy, like the sky was sitting on our roof. Women moved in and out of our compound with bowls and trays. The smell of jollof rice, fried plantain, and hot pepper soup floated everywhere. Drummers were already testing their drums. People laughed, people sang. But my chest was tight. I was 17. My name is Amaka. Today, they said, I would become the wife of Chief Nana. He was old enough to be my grandfather. They said he would save our family. They said he would cover our debts. They said it was a blessing. I said nothing. My voice stayed inside my throat like a stone. Mama's photograph watched me from the wall. Everyone said she died when I was 9. They said fever took her away like wind carries ash. Smile, my auntie told me as she pulled my jeel tight. Don't let tears spoil your face. A rich husband is luck. The jeel squeezed my head. I stared at myself in the mirror. I could not see luck. I saw a girl who could not breathe. Papa did not come into my room. He sent my cousin Kosi with the gold beads. Wear it, Kosi whispered, eyes soft. I stared at her. Kosi shifted closer. Do you still want to do it? She asked. She meant the plan. The secret plan we made 2 nights ago under the mango tree. Yes, I said. My lips were dry. The word came out small. Kosi moved fast. She slipped a folded dress under my bed and hid a small purse near the window. Money, she breathed. Not much, but enough to get you to the bus park. She squeezed my hand. You cannot come back if you go. Papa will be angry. The whole village will talk. Let them talk, I said. My voice shook. I just want to live. Outside, the talking and drumming grew louder. Chief's people had arrived. The white Hilux moved through our dusty street like a big fish in a small stream. Children ran after it and clapped. The drummer shouted, Odogwu! Odogwu! They called Chief a great man. Everybody did. I stood. My gown glittered like it belonged to someone else. I took a small breath and walked to the window. My hands were not steady. I pushed the frame up and felt the hot air touch my face. Kosi helped me remove the jeel. My head felt lighter. Now, she said. Go now. The gate creaked. Men's voices filled the compound. Footsteps, laughter. I heard Papa's voice, tired and heavy. Welcome, Chief, he said. My house is yours. I put my left leg over the window, then my right. My heart beat so hard I felt it in my mouth. I dropped to the ground outside and bent low behind the hibiscus. The sun was bright. The world sounded far away and close at the same time. I began to crawl towards the back fence. Dust clung to my knees. A lizard ran past me. The drums grew wilder. Someone called my name inside the house. Amaka! I did not answer. I stood, grabbed the small purse from the bush, and began to climb the fence. My dress tore, my skin scratched. I did not care. Then a shadow moved across the ground at my feet. A voice spoke softly behind me. Where do you think you're going, bride? I froze. I turned slowly. It was not Chief. It was not Papa. It was one of Chief's men, a tall man with a thin face and eyes like a blade. He smiled without teeth. Your father will not like this, small girl, he said quietly. Climb down. My mouth tasted like smoke. I shook my head. I did not trust my voice. He stepped closer. I felt the fence shake. Without thinking, I swung my leg over and dropped to the other side. I hit the ground hard, rolled and ran. My feet flew like they were not mine. Behind me the man swore. I heard him call out. Voices lifted. The drums swallowed his shout and beat with my heart. I ran through a narrow path between cassava fields. My dress caught on a stump and tore again. My hairpins fell. I did not stop. I ran past goats, past 2 small boys dragging a broken tire, past an old woman with a basket who shook her head like she knew everything. The sun burned my neck. The road opened, and the city began to gather itself around me. Kiki horns, Okada noise, vendors shouting. Enugu was awake. At the bus park, the world was louder. Buses sweated under the sun. Conductors slapped the sides and called destinations. Nsukka, Nsukka! Last seat. Enter with your change. Abakpa. Abakpa straight. Lagos night bus, Lagos. Smoke from roasted corn mixed with the smell of engine oil. People pushed. People bargained. No one knew me here. That was good. I kept my head down and moved into the crowd. My purse felt small in my hand. I needed to hide. I needed to think. A woman selling water looked at me and frowned at my torn gown. She wanted to ask. I moved away before she did. Amaka! A voice sliced the noise. I flinched, turned. Not Papa. Two of Chief's men stepped into the park, scanning faces. They were fast, faster than fear. They split and walked like hunters who knew their prey could not fly. I slid between two buses and crouched beside a stack of sacks. The sacks smelled like gari and dust. My throat tightened. I wanted to cry. I bit my lip. Don't cry now. Cry later. If there is a later. A hand touched my ankle. I jerked, ready to scream. A young man crouched next to me. He wore a faded black t-shirt and carried a small black bag across his chest. A faint scar curved above his right eyebrow. He put a finger to his lips. Shh, he said. His eyes were calm. If you scream, they will find you. Who are you? I whispered. A friend, he said. Today, at least. He tilted his head. You're running from somebody. I did not answer. He peeped through the gap. Those two are searching, he murmured. They know this place. If you keep hiding like this, they will trap you. My tongue struggled to move. What do you want? He smiled without arrogance. To help. Come. He stood in one smooth motion. I followed because my legs were already moving. He led me to a woman selling plantain chips near the front of a bus. Auntie Ada, he said warmly, this is my cousin. She got her dress torn. You know village drama. The woman looked at my face, then at his. Something passed between them. Old trust. She nodded and opened a back door of a small stall. Inside. I slipped in. It was dark and smelled like glue and pepper. The young man followed, closed the door, and crouched beside me. He leaned close. His whisper was soft. Listen well, he said. My name is Obi, and the man you're supposed to marry. He is not the kind of man you want near your life. I felt the whole stall tilt. How do you know, Chief? I asked. Obi's jaw tightened. He didn't answer. He looked out through a crack in the wood. A white Hilux rolled into the bus park. The Hilux slid through the crowd like it owned the ground. People made way without thinking. Doors opened. 3 men stepped out in matching shirts. Dark glasses, serious faces. One of them was the thin-eyed man from our compound. He spoke into a phone and nodded. Obi breathed slowly, like someone training a wild animal not to bite. They will search, he said. They will ask questions. Some drivers will talk for small money. He tapped the side of the stall. But not Ada, not me. Who are you? I asked again. I felt sweat on my back. My hands would not stop shaking. Why are you helping me? Obi's eyes met mine. The scar above his eyebrow looked older than his age. Because I know what it is to be hunted, he said. He looked away. And because the man hunting you has hunted me too. He cracked the door open. We move now, he whispered. Follow my steps. If they call your name, don't turn. If someone grabs you, drop to the ground and shout thief till your throat breaks. Ready? I nodded. We slipped into the light. The bus park swallowed us. Obi walked like he belonged to the place. He greeted 2 conductors, clapped hands with a Kiki driver, took a bag from a vendor and returned it. He pulled me into the shadow of a bus as Chief's men passed. My heart beat like a drum in a dark room. We made it to the far end of the park where the crowd thinned. A boy was washing a bus with a bucket. Obi stopped and stared at the ground. Footprints, he said softly. They're sweeping the back row. Can't we just buy a ticket and enter any bus? I asked. They are checking tickets too, he said. Your name will be on a list. A wedding list is always loud. We ducked into a small passage between two sheds. The air there was cool and damp. Obi stopped. He looked at me for a long moment. If we leave the city, they will follow, he said. If we stay, they will search. There is only one way to win. How? I asked. We change the game, he said. We take something from them, so they start running instead. Take what? My voice trembled. The truth, he said. He lifted his chin. There are things about Chief. Things that he kept hidden. A book, not names. Dates, places. If we get it, he cannot touch you in daylight. My mind could not find a place to put those words. What book? How do you know? Obi opened his mouth to answer. A call cut through the air. Obi! The sound froze me. I looked over his shoulder. The thin-eyed man was coming fast. He had seen us. Obi did not look surprised. He grabbed my hand and we ran. We dodged a wheelbarrow and jumped a chain. The thin-eyed man chased. People shouted. What is it? Thief? Fight? The Hilux engine roared. Obi pulled me behind a moving bus. The bus coughed black smoke and hid us for 2 seconds. When the smoke cleared, a hand closed on my wrist. Not Obi's heart. Cold. I turned and stared into the thin-eyed man's face. He smiled like victory tasted sweet. Found you, he said. He squeezed my wrist until my fingers opened and my purse fell. The coins rolled away like running children. Leave her, Obi said. His voice was low and even. The thin-eyed man did not look at him. Your father wants you to stop playing this hero, he murmured. He said you should come home. Father? My head snapped to Obi. He held my gaze for a heartbeat. Something unreadable moved in his eyes. People slowed to watch. A circle formed. The way circles form when strangers smell drama. The thin-eyed man lifted my arm like I was a goat at market. You think you can disgrace your father on his happiest day? You think you can spoil Chief's name? His eyes gleamed. We will take you home. You will kneel. You will beg. Obi stepped closer. Let her go, he repeated softer. The thin-eyed man laughed. Or what? Ada appeared beside Obi like she had grown from the ground. She didn't speak. She swung a bottle she had been holding. It smashed against the man's wrist. He shouted and let me go. I stumbled back. Obi moved like water, quick, steady, sure. He pushed the man against the bus and whispered something in his ear. The man's face changed to real fear, but only for a second. He punched Obi in the stomach. Obi took it and didn't fall. Run, Ada hissed at me. Backstall now. I ran. Ada followed. We slipped behind the sheds and into a tight lane that smelled of wet wood and onions. Ada's breath was fast, but her eyes were calm. You want to live, she said. You do exactly what I say. We reached a small tailor's shop with a faded sign. Ada and Son Stitches. Inside was cool, dim, and full of fabric. Ada shut the door and slid a bolt across. Change, she ordered. Now. She threw a plain skirt and blouse at me. I pulled them on. My wedding dress fell to the floor like a skin I didn't want any more. Ada nodded. You look like a student again. She handed me a cheap wig. I put it on. I felt like a stranger. A safer stranger. You know Chief? I asked. Ada's mouth tightened. Everybody knows Chief, she said. He gives rice at Christmas. He pays school fees for camera people. He also does many things in the dark. If you are lucky, you never see those things. She looked me over. You are not lucky. The door opened. Obi came in, breathing hard but unhurt. He shut the door and leaned against it. We have hours, he said, maybe less. My phone vibrated in my purse. A message. My hands shook as I pulled it out. The number was hidden. The text said, You are not alone. Check your video. I pressed play. A woman's face filled the screen. Thin, tired, with eyes that looked like mine. She wore a scarf and stood near a road I did not know. Her voice was soft. Amaka, she said. My daughter, forgive me. I did not die. I had to run. If I stayed, we would both be gone. My knees gave way, the phone slid. Ada caught it. Obi caught me. She's alive, I whispered. Mama is alive, the video continued. If you are seeing this, the woman said, it means the day has come. There is a key with this message. It opens a locker. Inside you will find the book. Do not trust your father. Do not trust Chief. And if you meet a young man with a scar over his eye... The video cut off. The screen went black. A small envelope had slipped from my purse with the phone. I picked it up with trembling fingers. Inside was a single key. Obi stared at it. His face changed. That, he said slowly, belongs to a locker I know. Ada made us tea and forced me to sip. The steam steadied my breath. Obi spread a faded city map on the sewing table. He pointed. Here, he said. Old lockers by the back of the park. They are for night drivers and long-distance conductors. Most people don't know they still work. He looked up. But Chief's men know. If your mother sent this, they will be looking. Why would my mother know about a locker in a bus park? I asked. My voice was small again. Maybe because she ran, Ada said softly. Like you. There was another envelope in the purse. It was older. The paper had become thin and brown at the edges. My name was written on it in my mother's handwriting. I broke the seal with a shaking thumb and pulled out a letter. My Amaka, it began. If this reaches you, it means I could not come back for you the way I promised. Forgive me, your father is not a bad man. He is a weak man. Weak men are dangerous when they love money and fear shame. My eyes burned. I read on. I worked in Chief's Foundation for Women. I thought I was helping poor girls. I thought I was paying back a world that had been kind to me at my own need. But I began to see things. Pregnant girls who vanished after delivery. Papers that did not make sense. Nurses who were paid to keep quiet. I kept records, not names. Dates. I made copies. When I asked questions, Chief smiled and told me it was big people business. Your father begged me to stop. He had already taken money, too much to return. Then I found your brother's bracelet in a file that was not supposed to exist. They said I never had a son. But I know what my body remembers. I stopped. My heart stumbled. I don't know if your brother is alive. I don't know where they took him. But I hid the book. I hid it where men who wear fine agbada do not look. If you ever need safety, take the key and run. Give the book to the one who fears God more than men. And if you meet a young man with a scar over his right eye, trust him, but not his name. The truth will hurt, but it will also save you. The letter ended with a blessing that broke me. I folded forward, crying into my hands, quiet, hard, shaking. Ada rubbed my back and said nothing. Obi stared at the floor like it could tell him where the past had gone. Finally, he lifted his head. We go now, he said, before the Hilux returns. How can we pass them, I asked. Ada went to a cupboard and pulled out 2 white shirts. NYSC crests faded but still visible. Corpers, she said. People respect corpers. Or at least they look away. She gave me a cap and Obi a face mask. Walk like you belong. Argue about exact change. Laugh once, not too much. We moved. The bus park was still busy. The sun had begun to slide, throwing long shadows across the ground. My cap hid my face. Obi pointed vaguely at a bus timetable and said, loud enough for people to hear, but why is Lagos fair like this? Last week it was lower. I nodded and clicked my tongue. We reached the back row of lockers. Rust chewed their edges. The smell of old metal and engine oil hung there. My key shook in my hand. Obi stood to shield me from view. Quick, he murmured. The key turned. The locker door squealed open. Inside was a small red notebook tied with blue thread. Beside it lay a baby's bracelet made of pale beads and a tin tag stamped with one word, Chidi. My breath broke. My mother had told the truth. My brother existed. Obi took the notebook and slid it into his bag. He handed me the bracelet with both hands, careful, like it was glass. Hold him, he said. Stop there. A voice shouted. We turned. 2 policemen stood 10 steps away, hands on batons, faces tight. and behind them the thin-eyed man smiled. They marched us to a small office at the edge of the park. The room was hot. A fan chopped the air, but did not cool it. The thin-eyed man sat on a table, swinging one leg. He looked pleased. "You young people think you can hide in this city," he said. "You think this is a film?" Obi did not answer. Sweat rolled down his temple. He stood between me and the door like a wall. A siren wailed outside, short and proud. A dark SUV pulled up. The office door opened, and Chief Nana entered like a man who owned the room and the wall and the air. He wore white lace that did not wrinkle, and a smile that did not reach his eyes. Gold flashed on his wrist. He smelled like soft perfume and loud money. "Our children," he said warmly. "What is this drama?" No one spoke. Chief walked to me. His eyes were gentle, almost fatherly. "Amaka," he said. "Beautiful Amaka. Weddings make young girls afraid. It is normal." He touched my chin with the back of his hand. My skin crawled, but fear is a bird. It flies away when you open the window. "Come, let us go and make your father happy." I stepped back. "I am not your wife," I said. My voice was quiet, but it did not shake. Chief smiled. "Not yet," he said. He turned to Obi. "And you," he said softly. "You and your stubbornness. Didn't I warn you? The world is not changed by angry boys, my son." The room tilted again. The word hung there like a bell. "Son." I stared at Obi. He looked at Chief with a face that had gone cold. Old pain moved in the space between them like Hamadan dust. He didn't deny it. Chief folded his hands. "You see," he said to me almost kindly, "he has always been a good boy. He just follows the wrong light." "Tell her the rest," Obi said finally. His voice was dry. "Tell her about the book." Chief's smile thinned. He glanced at the thin-eyed man, who shook his head slightly. "No book," Chief said. "Just lies. The kind your mother liked to write when she forgot her place." Fire licked my throat. "You knew my mother?" I asked. Chief's eyes slid over me. "Everybody knew your mother," he said lightly. "Pretty woman, big dreams. Small wisdom." He waved at the policeman. "Let us return the girl to her father. The boy," he paused, eyes on Obi, "will come with me." "Family is family," Obi moved then. Fast. He knocked the fan with his elbow. It crashed. The room jerked. The policeman stumbled. Obi grabbed my hand and pulled. We ran for the side door. The thin-eyed man swore and reached. Ada was there. I still don't know how she got in, but she swung another bottle, and it exploded in the doorway like a small storm. We pushed through smoke and shouts into the bright heat. We ran behind the office block and leaped over a low wall. People scattered, a vendor screamed. A wheelbarrow fell, and oranges rolled like marbles. We did not stop. We ran till the noise behind us shrank and turned into the ordinary noise of the city again. We collapsed in a narrow alley behind a tailor's kiosk. My lungs dragged for air. Obi pressed his back to the wall and slid to the ground. He looked at me. The calm in his eyes was gone. Something else was there now, something raw. "I am his son," he said softly, before I could ask. "But I am not his blood." He touched the scar over his eyebrow. "My mother worked in his house," he said. "She raised me alone after he told her to leave. I watched him buy respect. I watched him destroy people who did not bow. I promised myself I would not bow. He swallowed, so I learned his secrets." Ada crouched beside us, eyes on the mouth of the alley. "Police will spread out," she said. "You cannot go home. I cannot open the shop. We need to disappear until dark." Obi nodded. He looked at me. "We have the book," he said. "Now we have to live long enough to use it." Somewhere not far away, a siren began to cry again. We hid in an old warehouse near coal camp, where the walls smelled of wet cement and old stories. Ada knew the man who kept the key. She pressed cash into his palm, and he looked away while we slipped inside. A thin window let in grey light. Dust danced in it. Obi opened the red notebook carefully. The blue thread left a groove in his fingers. He turned the first page and whistled low. Names filled the paper in small, neat writing. Dates, hospital codes. Amounts a column labelled transfer, with arrows pointing to cities. Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. Another column marked mothers, with numbers instead of names. Besides some, a single letter, D. I asked, dead? Ada said softly. The word dropped like a stone in a well. My stomach tightened. Obi kept turning pages. More names, more dates. This is not just one hospital, he said. It's a chain. The foundation collects girls, gives them care, then moves them. His mouth hardened. Chief runs it like a business. I held the baby bracelet with both hands. Chidi shone in the weak light. My mother wrote that she saw this in a file, I whispered. If she kept a copy of that file, it might be in here. Obi moved slowly to the last third of the book. He stopped. The page was different. Not numbers. A short list in my mother's handwriting. 3 names, 3 babies. 3 dates. The last line read, Chidi M 2.9 kg, transferred to care house. No date, no hospital code. Just a location written like a whisper. Okapara Avenue. Care house, Ada said, frowning. I know a place there. A clinic that opened and closed too fast. It pretended to be a shelter for women. Closed? I asked. Closed in the light, Ada said. Open in the dark. A sharp knock hit the metal door. All of us froze. The second knock was softer, like fingers instead of fists. Obi slid the notebook into his bag and motioned me to the back. He lifted a brick and revealed a low gap in the wall leading to a narrow drainage corridor. If it is them, he whispered, you go. Ada and I— Obi, a voice called through the door. My heart stopped. It was Papa. He pushed inside before we could answer, hat in his hands, shirt soaked with sweat. His eyes were red like he had not slept in years. He saw me and fell to his knees. Amaka, he said, voice breaking. I am sorry, I am sorry. I am sorry. I did not know whether to run to him or run away. Papa, I said, and it came out like a question. He crawled closer. They told me to bring you, he said. They said I must or they will take my legs. They said I owe money that my bones cannot repay. His chest heaved. I sold my pride, my name, my daughter. God will judge me. He looked up at Obi and Ada. But I cannot sell you to death. Obi's eyes were cold. How did you find us? Your friend, Papa whispered. Kosi. They held a knife to her fear and made it speak. My throat tightened. I imagined Kosi's eyes wide, her hands shaking, her mouth telling strangers where her cousin ran. I could not blame her. I blamed the knife. We have to move now, Obi said. If Papa walked here, they are not far. He turned to Papa. Do you know about the book? Papa's mouth trembled. He nodded once, shame heavy in the movement. Your mother wrote it, he said to me. I begged her to stop. She would not. I took money from Chief. I thought it was for our farm. Then I could not breathe without his hand on my neck. When your mother started asking questions, they decided to take everything. He covered his face. They told me she died. I believed it because believing was easier than fighting. I crouched and touched his shoulder. We have the book, I said. The door banged hard. Splinters fell from the frame. The thin-eyed man's voice slid under the metal. Papa Cheek, he called, almost singing. Good father, good servant. You brought the bride? Or do we enter and collect her like a stubborn goat? Papa looked at me with wild eyes. Run, he whispered. Please let me do one right thing. Obi grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the gap in the wall. Ada took the bag with the book and pressed it against my stomach. Whatever happens, she said, eyes fierce, do not let this go. The door bent, screws jumped. The thin-eyed man laughed. We dropped into the dark. The drainage corridor was low and narrow. We crawled on hands and knees. The air smelled of wet clay and old rain. Above us, boots pounded, voices shouted. A gun cocked. The sound cracked my bones. We moved like insects. The bracelet in my fist felt warm, like it remembered the sun. Obi went first, then me, then Ada. Behind us, Papa shouted something we could not hear. The door banged again. The sound echoed in the corridor like thunder. We came out behind the warehouse into a maze of alleys. Obi did not wait. He pulled us left, then right, then through a yard where clothes flapped like ghosts. A woman shouted but did not follow. We slipped into an old cinema with a broken sign, River Nile Pictures. The foyer was empty. Posters peeled from the walls. The big hall smelled like dust and forgotten dreams. We climbed to the back row and sank into torn seats. My hands would not stop trembling. Ada watched the door. Obi watched me. "Breathe," he said gently. I breathed. I told my lungs to behave. They listened slowly. Obi opened the bag and took out the notebook. We tilted it under the grey light coming through the broken roof. "Look," he said. He pointed to a symbol in the margin near some names, a small circle with 2 lines. "This mark appears beside girls who went missing before delivery, not after." I stared. The notebook felt heavier. "They took them before the babies came." "Sometimes," Obi said. "Sometimes after. Sometimes both." His mouth hardened again. "There is also a list of the men who sponsored the foundation. Businessman, pastor, a politician. Your father's name is here too, small among the big ones. He flicked a page. He delivered names, not girls. He was a whisper in a chain of shouts." I curled around the bracelet. "I hate him," I said. The words hurt my tongue. "But I think I still love him." "What kind of heart does that?" "A human one," Ada said softly. "Hate and love can drink from the same cup." Silence filled the cinema like a slow river. Dust fell from the ceiling like quiet rain. Obi's hand brushed mine and rested there. It was a small touch. It steadied me more than the tea had. "What will you do when this is over?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," I said. "Maybe I will breathe without counting. Maybe I will find my brother and hold him and tell him the world is not always this dark." Obi nodded. "Maybe I will stop running," he said. "Or maybe I will teach others how to run better." Footsteps scratched at the door below. We froze. A shadow moved across the aisle. A man stepped into the light. He was not thin-eyed. He was old, stooped, with hands that shook. Papa. He climbed the steps and reached us, breathless. "They are coming," he panted. "They beat me and asked where you went. I told them I didn't know. I told them I am a coward. They believed me for a moment. That moment is finished. Come," Obi said, standing. "We go through the back." Papa caught my arm. His eyes shone wet. "Forgive me," he whispered. "I cannot yet," I said. "But I will try." He nodded, like that was more than he deserved. We moved along the back wall to a service door. It opened to a narrow passage that led to the street. We stepped out into light and sound and ordinary life. Women selling akara, a boy kicking a bottle, a radio playing high life. The world did not know that we were the center of a small storm. A white Hilux turned the corner fast. It braked. Doors opened. Chief stepped out. Everything slowed. Chief stood by the Hilux, sunlight on his lace, dust on his shoes. He looked at us like a man studying a painting he planned to buy. The thin-eyed man took a step forward. 2 more men came behind him, hard faces.